Welcome to the Quantum Empath. I'm your host, Kelley Michelle, intuitive guide, alchemist, and reality hacker. This is a space where esoteric knowledge, ancient wisdom, personal development, and quantum physics meet to help you shift your frequency, break old patterns, and step into the life your soul came here to live. Let's expand your awareness, upgrade your energy, and create your dream reality, one episode at a time. Let's begin. Hey, you guys, it's me. And as I promised you, I decided it was time to start bringing on guests to come and have conversations. When I started this podcast, I was one of only a couple people I knew that I could have these conversations with. And since I've been doing this for a while, I have met some really amazing people, and I decided, hey, why not introduce you to some of the other amazing practitioners, healers, New Earth architects. And so I am pleased to announce my guest today, Susan Frankovich. And Susan and I, full disclaimer, met through my harmonic egg. When she came to see me, I first opened my doors. And welcome, Susan. Thank you for being here today. How are you?
So good. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you, Kelley.
So when you came to see me, we met through a mutual friend of ours, and she said, hey, I think you need to come and see this girl. And we hit it off straight away. Like, yeah, kind of same wavelength.
Yes.
And you do something that I think is interesting, but I don't know a lot about, because it seems like when we come in, we're always talking about other things. And so really what I want to do is learn more about you and how you're making a difference in the world and how you're bringing your expertise to Reno, to the world. I know you do a lot of stuff online, so let's hear a little bit about you, please.
To begin, let's see. I ended up in Reno. I was born and raised here, and I was gone for 22 years, and I taught dance, actually, and I lived internationally, and I traveled internationally, and did a lot of other things as well in that period. But I had a panic attack 2 years before my 40th birthday, which is almost a decade now. And it was because my life was really out of alignment. I was working a job that was taking up so much of my time and energy and bandwidth. I was in a toxic relationship. I was also teaching yoga and dance and going to 6 yoga classes a week. And I thought I was handling everything until one day in the middle of a class, I just had this full-on breakdown. And 2 days later, I was in Portland with some good friends, and I realized that I still wasn't okay. I couldn't walk down the street. I couldn't without gasping for air. So I went and got checked out, and they did an EKG and a full blood panel and a chest X-ray, and they said, you are above the line of health. You just need to learn how to manage your stress. And I got really, really angry. I was like, what do you mean? I do yoga 6 days a week. I get a 2-hour massage once a week. What are you talking about? I need to learn how to manage my stress. And that led me to moving back to Reno, for one thing. This is where my family is. And deciding to study yoga therapy, which is about really tuning into an individual system and helping them with practices to be able to help themselves. It gets very specific. It's not just the physical practice of yoga. It's breath work, it's meditation, it's contemplation. It's also about habit change. And when everything started to shift, I also discovered something called PSYCH-K, which is subconscious work, which I adore and I love. It stands for psychological kinesiology. We use muscle testing to speak with the subconscious mind and then to change the belief systems. But it's also amazing for shifting your perception of stress. It's amazing for clearing trauma or phobias so that those things that have power over you that are keeping you held back can move forward. And then it's very empowering because we're not focusing on what those beliefs are that you don't prefer. We're focusing on what do you want instead of what you're experiencing, which is so cool. And then also during this time, Reiki kind of made a re-emergence in my life, which I had studied in the early 2000s, like 2001, 2002. And it came back with the new energies with Holy Fire and then with Animal Reiki and then recently with Gaian Reiki. And that's been a way in which to also kind of amplify healing and also to work with the nervous system, but to integrate the subconscious work. So there's all these different little pieces that work so well together because what I find is like, if you change a belief, but you don't change your habits, then nothing changes. If you change your belief, but your nervous system isn't capable of moving forth with what you prefer, then nothing changes. We have to work and from many different points of view to really expand and to anchor things in and to integrate and to get where we want to go so that we can embody what it is that we want to be and do.
That's amazing. Wow. Okay. That's amazing, Susan. The thing that I feel like that I love about the work that you're doing is you're melding it sounds like you're melding a bunch of different practices together to create kind of your own thing. And I feel like I meet a lot of counterparts or peers that I'm meeting through my business and through social media and whatnot. And everybody's like, yeah, I'm into this, but because they know their human design or they know their gene keys or their life path, they go, oh yeah, I'll take a little piece of this and I'll take a little piece of this. Have you found melding different modalities together to be more empowering to your clients and able to lean in to different areas based on their needs?
Absolutely. I feel like my job is to listen for what they need and to listen to what's working, but more importantly, what's not working, and to help them find what does work so that they can help themselves. And, some of the things we do within a session, within a container, but I always like to give people things to take away with them that they can use on their own. And like I said, there's all these different pieces and it's not a one and done. And some things work really well for some people, and those same things don't work really well for other people.
Yes. And I feel like as people who are holding space for those who are doing the work, we can be the dentist, we can be the housekeeper, but we can't be there every day to take out the trash. We can't be there every day to brush their teeth. And so I feel like, and I don't know if this is true for you, but the people that I work with, you for instance, are committed to the process of investing in their well-being. And I feel like what we're offering a lot of the more, new earth architects that are starting to learn that we're here to collaborate with each other because we know that humanity is going through this big change right now energetically, and that a lot of us have been called to step up and be in place and ready to assist when people start to realize there's more to life than just the grind. I know you like a slow life.
Mm-hmm.
And, I know a lot of my clients are also moving into, they've worked really, really hard and now they're like, I want to play. And I want to, have that ease. Let's talk a little bit about the nervous system, because I know my nervous system used to be very tangled. And what do you find with your clients as far as how long does it usually take to unwind a nervous system? Does it just depend on the person?
I think it depends on the person, and it depends on what technique you offer the person. Because going back to not all things work to all people, and it doesn't mean that you're broken. It just means that that doesn't work for you, and it's okay because there's 100 other things we can try. There are many instances in which I see people like being able to shift right away with the practices that I offer them, but that is not always the case. And also, you have to keep entraining your nervous system. You have to keep showing it where you want to go. You have to practice so that you're able to have that pathway to get there more quickly. And it's not always fast for people. Some people, need a calm practice to calm. Some people need a very energized practice to calm. It's so individual, and there are all these different techniques in which to offer. And on some level, can I swear on the podcast?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
On some level, it's like fuck around and find out. However,
Right.
when I'm giving people practices, it's not just like, oh, I'm choosing this because it's out of the blue. There's a reason why I'm choosing it.
Right. Like a yelling, or maybe kind of more aggressive, or breath work or something for some people. Or
I guess I evaluate people. There's an intake process. And when I'm doing my yoga therapy work, I'm looking for where their imbalances are. I'm looking at different models or different systems. I work with the doshas. I work with the koshas. I work with different mindset theories. And when I see imbalances in those people, then I'll give them practices that I think are going to help specifically where I see that imbalance to help bring them back into balance. Like, I'm not just being like, oh, I'm going to pick this off the tree because I know it's cool.
right. You work very intuitively then, like me.
Well, there's intuition, and then there's also like practical application. I think that,
Right.
there's all this knowledge, and there's this study, and there's this like embodied experience that I've had with myself and that I've seen with others. So I think intuition is a part of that, but I think it's also really grounded in practical knowledge.
Yeah. Something that we have in common is we love grid work.
Mm.
Can we talk about grid work for a minute? 'Cause
Sure.
I love what you taught me about helping the trees and just kind of being playful out in nature. And tell me about your grid work practices.
Well, it's so funny because even though like I do recognize that I do grid work, that term is still something that for me is like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing it. I believe that something is happening, but I still have that kind of healthy skepticism about it in a sense. But I do energy work, and recently I did a guy in Reiki training with a woman named Kara Daniels, who's really amazing, deep roots connections. And we did a dragon activation, which I've been working with dragon energy for, I don't know, 2.5 years now, maybe. And I am a dragon like in Chinese astrology, and I've always connected with the dragon energy. And so I've learned how to use that energy. And one of the ways in which I share that energy is like blowing intentionally that dragon energy into the roots of trees or into rocks and burying them, or throwing them in a river, or blowing into a body of water. And everything is intention.
I was down in California last weekend with my mom, and I went for a walk in her neighborhood, and it's so pretty and green there. And so I was playing with the fairies. I was looking for portals. I was making little offerings. I was picking little wildflowers, and I sat there for about 10 minutes, and I could actually see like little flickers, and I was like, they're probably bugs, but I'm just going to pretend like they're fairies, but I don't know, maybe they are. I'm not going to question. And I just like to play and have fun, and it doesn't hurt anyone. And if it helps. And the interesting thing about that neighborhood is it's on a street called Aeolia. And I thought, what does Aeolia mean? And I looked it up, and it's some mythical Greek god type. Do you know about Aeolia?
No.
Oh, okay. And so it was created, this neighborhood was created around an olive orchard, and the original owners that planted that orchard had this house on the hill, and it was like their whimsical, magical place. And now it's a neighborhood, and it's, but it's very mature and beautiful, and I had so much fun. But I get off course. I want to talk a little bit about your experience with the egg, if you're comfortable with that, and maybe how it's helped you shift or maybe tune yourself into new things.
First of all, I'll say that as a practitioner, I think it's important to keep our systems clear and to continue to do our work. And I'm always looking for ways to do that. And we can only go so deep with others as we can go with ourselves. So something that I am always looking to do is to go deeper within, but also now I'm in this phase. I've been in this phase of like working down and out and really grounding and being really still and quiet. And now I'm in the space of wanting to expand out more because these roots are nice and solid and I've done all this internal work. And I feel like the egg offers an opportunity for that internal introspection, for one. Like there can be beautiful insights. And for me, my first 2 sessions were, oh, I'm going to get emotional. We're very connected to my soul dog, Milo, one before he died and then one after he died. And they were very, very, very special sessions. And I was able to connect with him in just such a beautiful way and being in that space. And it was very comforting and it was very nurturing. And also your energy is very nurturing. Like I know that the energy of the egg is not just because of the egg, it's because of you. It's because you bring so much to it and your energy is contagious and just so beautiful. And I mean, there's so many things that I think it offers. It offers clearing. It offers that potential to expand and to ground. And like, I don't know, it gives you what you need. I don't want to like box it in and say that it does any one thing. I feel like every single experience I've had has been different. And each time it's addressed what I needed. And I know you're also doing your magic in the side.
We look for things.
In the
We look for
background.
little things. Well, I love that. I appreciated that we were able to, kind of, I think you were like right there, and it was like the little, I look at it like a radio station and just clearing a little bit of static off the channel. And it was like, I don't know. That's how it's been for me. It seems to get this happening where I feel clear, I feel flowy, I feel calm, like maybe in a state of chaos where I would usually be, I can be less.
Yeah.
And kind of keep myself high energy. And so I always appreciate working with you there. Is there anything that you would recommend to somebody who is just kind of starting their spiritual journey, or maybe just recognizing what they might want to do for their mission? And any tips or tricks that you learned along the way that could be useful to somebody that is maybe wanting to take the leap into their full-time mission?
I feel like it's important to know that it doesn't all have to happen at once. There's just so many layers of conditioning that we all have, and nothing is ever just completely cleared like that, at least in my experience. Like there's all these layers, and we have to show up and commit to showing up for ourselves and to tuning into our yeses and our nos. And I know for me, it was really important to learn how to say no or not to say yes all the time, to really feel what my yeses are. And then to be able to learn how to communicate that and hold boundaries. Like we need to hold boundaries with ourselves. We need to hold boundaries with others. And we need to have a lot of patience and grace for ourselves while we go through this process, and compassion, because it's not rainbows and unicorns all the time. There could be some pretty dark moments, and we can get through them. We can definitely get through them. And as we navigate the space, there's so much learning about ourselves. And I think that's just such a beautiful thing to be able to do, to really learn who you are deeply and to know where your fuck yeses are and where your hell no's are, and where the meh in between is just maybe not worth even investing in, and so that you can move forth in the way that you want to and to be who you want to be in this world.
Yes, I know. I was actually just telling someone yesterday, it was an old friend who came by to check out the egg. And the way that I was talking about it, he's just said, "Oh, this is your calling. This is your thing. Like you're a natural." And I said, "I know, I know." And breaking out of that old identity, if you will, of I was that people pleaser and I was the one that was always doing for everyone else. And I had to relearn how to accept that for myself, for people to do nice things for me.
Yeah.
And soften in that way and not always be the one who's like, I've got it all taken care of. You know, I want to be soft. I want to have help. I want to collaborate with people. And I think there's space for everyone because we're more, I think, like birds than people realize. But you have a women's circle that you offer that I attended, and you do that online and in person once a month. And then I know you offer like some group yoga classes and some men and women stuff. So I want to link to that in my comments. But is there anything you'd like to say about your offerings, your group sessions and stuff like that?
I feel like you kind of summed it up. Yes, I do an in-home and virtual hybrid women's circle once a month. I've been doing that for now, oh wow, like 9 years, I believe.
Mm.
And it's been consistent through all these 9 years, either once a month or twice a month. New moon happens always. Full moon has been off and on. My gathering at Temple Yoga for the full moon is with a dear friend of mine, Amy Jackson, who plays crystal bowls. And so we collaborate on that. And that is an offering for both men and women because men need healing spaces too. They need spaces in which they can be held and in which they can share and in which they can heal. Yeah. And my group yoga classes, I also do at Temple Yoga. I have some classes on Zoom as well. And I just, I don't know, I love them because I love being in connection with people, and the feedback that I get is that it feels different from other spaces, from other classes. We really, it's not about, being fancy. It's about really being tuned into the body, about really being present with what is, which is part of the way in which you can start to tune into what your yeses and nos are, what's true for you and what's not. Like, oh, I feel the sensation in my fingertips. Oh, I feel the way my breath is moving in my body. Oh, I feel my beating heart. Or like, oh, I like something's uncomfortable there. All of these things. And to be able to witness ourselves without judgment, and to be able to move from a place of ease and softness, because I agree with you. I want softness. And again, there's a time for intensity. I believe that too. But it seems as I age, my offerings are more about learning how to be soft, because we have to undo all of the things that we've learned about how you have to work so hard and you have to try so hard and you have to kill yourself working. Like, how do we undo that? We can undo it in our
Right.
bodies.
I love that. Yes, that is the goal. Breaking down these systems that keep us stuck in the corporate jobs where we are burning ourselves out. We are building somebody else's dreams. And I think we are going to go through a wave of people who are deciding that they want to be slower. They want to listen and do things that are enjoyable for them. And so I hope that by sharing your voice, by sharing my voice and meeting people along the way, that we can help other people believe in themselves enough and heal themselves enough to be able to chase their dreams and follow what feels good for them. And what feels good for some people is working. And that's totally fine. You know, some people love what they do. And I say, as long as you're in alignment and you enjoy it, by all means, go and do that thing. Some people love going out on sales calls. By all means, go do that if you love what you do. But I think more of us are wanting to just enjoy being our human self, our human, what do we call it? Being instead of our human doing. Mm-hmm. And your plants look so happy.
Oh, they're so happy.
Yeah. So are mine. They love it. We've been doing house clearings. Mm-hmm. I've been putting Susan and I's house in the egg for a few weeks. And I don't know about you, but I'm getting a ton of wildlife on my property. Mm-hmm. And my plants are happy. And the wildlife, they don't run away so quickly like they used to. Like they're trusting it a little more. So it's interesting.
I've had that experience out in nature, like deer that just, they don't run. They're just hanging out and watching.
Yeah.
And like staying close. I'm like, hey guys, can you maybe clear a path for us to walk through? Or birds that usually would not be hanging out and being so close, allowing us so close. Just, yes, it's really interesting. And I have a squirrel stealing a bunch of stuff from my garden, which is driving me a little bit mad. But
I know. Okay, well, Susan, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me today. And my first episode of this podcast where I'm bringing on other starseeds, light workers, and people who are making a big difference in the world, one soul at a time. Susan, keep up the great work, and we'll be in touch. It's great to see you here.
Nice to see you.
I'll talk to you later.
Okay. Bye.